This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone. Good morning, good evening. This is Kiran, the trainer joining. Guys, please confirm if I'm audible and if my screen share is visible.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi,
Hi, hello.
Kiran.
How are you?
Yes, we can hear you, Kiran. Hi.
Okay, cool, cool. Thank you very much for the confirmation. Um, okay, I could see Armand. Okay, four participants is what I could see right now. Okay, I think we can get started. Uh, again, welcome to the very first class, or I would call it as a simple demonstration class of Katalon Studio, automation testing of web-based applications. Before we get started about this demonstration, let us have a quick introduction about ourselves so that we can get to know about each other. So I'll start with myself. So my name is Kiran. I come with close to 18 years experience in the software industry, and I have been doing these trainings for a lot of corporates, online and offline, from the last 15 years, across multiple areas of software testing and DevOps subjects. To mention a few, I deal with topics where the API automation is necessary with tools such as Postman, SOAP UI, Ruddy API, Katalon Studio. And I also train and consult on automation projects that deals with Selenium or that deals with Katalon Studio. Apart from this, I also consult and train on performance testing subject using tools such as Gatling, Jmeter, and also on security testing using tools like Burp Suite, Z-Attack proxy tool, and a couple of other tools as well. Okay, so that's a quick little overview about my profile, guys. Okay, and yeah, so maybe I'll ask you guys to give a little introduction about yourself. Okay, so Chitra says she cannot hear me. Others, you guys can hear me?
Yes, Kiran, we can hear.
Okay, others can hear me. So I think Suchitra, it's probably okay. I think she can't hear me. Let me check. Okay, yep. Thank you. Okay, so others, if you can give that little introduction about your profile, it would be good. Maybe we'll start with Srikant.
Yeah, hi, Kiran. This is Srikanth. I am working as a test engineer for the client in USA, which is through Accenture.
Okay,
I was involved in like API testing and mobile app testing. So just thought to learn Catalan Studio, like as they stated, like which is a better tool where we can enhance our skills through development activity as well. So that's it about me.
okay. Thank you, Srikant. Okay, we'll Syed.
Hi, Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, actually, my name is Musharraf. I'm just working in Canada as a senior QA analyst for the infrastructure domain. No, I have done some like performance testing like in past, also the some Selenium, but not like a full extent. The reason I'm joining because there's an opening coming soon in my area. That's why I wanted to learn the Catalan Studio.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
Musharraf. And we have one person with the name LK. Maybe could you please introduce yourself? You're on mute. Okay, I think he got disconnected. We'll also wait for Suchitra to join. So while we wait for the other two folks to rejoin, so this question is for both Musharraf and Srikanth. So do you guys come with prior experience on web automation, like the Selenium or Katalon or something similar?
I do have experience for Selenium, not Katalon.
Okay. And how about you, Srikanth?
Yeah, Kiran, I don't have much experience in automation, but am working on like API automation using Karate tool. That's the only skill I have. Uh,
Okay. Okay. Cool. Then okay. And Suchitra, can you hear us now? Suchitra, can you hear us now? Okay. I think we'll move forward. Yeah. So Srikanth, please confirm if my screen share is visible.
yes, Kiran.
Okay. So, so today we will be just having a quick understanding of what I would teach in this course and what are the key takeaways for the participants who are willing to enroll in this course. Okay, that would be the ideal expectation of this class. We'll try to keep it short as well. Uh, so when it comes to Katalon Studio, this tool is in the market from nearly last 8 years, I would say. And I have been training I have been training the corporates, on the Katalon Studio tool from the last 5 to 6 years. I have done close to, I would say, nearly 30 training programs exclusively on the Katalon Studio tool. And the Katalon Studio tool can be used for automating the web-based applications. The tool can be used to automate APIs. The tool can be used to automate mobile apps. The tool can be used to automate the desktop applications as well. So in that way, the Katalon Studio tool becomes a very powerful tool as it can automate 4 different areas of your entire application development lifecycle process. Okay. Suchitra, you are able to hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay. Maybe you can go on mute for a couple of seconds.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
you have
sorry.
anything to say, yeah, if you have anything to say, you can also. Otherwise, you can be on mute.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'll be on mute.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, like I said, the tool is really a powerful tool in the market today because it can test the APIs, the mobile apps, the desktop applications, and the web applications. And this course that I'm teaching, this is exclusively for web application automation. And so obviously, when we enroll in a course, the expectation would be like, hey, what is the key takeaway for me? Like, what is that I would be going away? So I have written here 5 learning objectives, which means these becomes the course objectives or the learning outcomes for all the participants who enroll in this course. The first learning objective will be you will understand the basics and the essentials of what is automation, why would you automate a web-based application, and what is the minimum basic knowledge that we need to have and the tool should have to automate the web application. So that basics is what you'll definitely try to understand because I certainly believe in having a solid foundation before we learn anything. Without the foundational concepts, learning any tool would be a mere waste of everyone's knowledge. The second learning objective would be we will be using the Katalon Studio tool to explore multiple features available in the tool that helps us to automate Katalon Studio web-based applications. So there are like if there are 20 features, we will try to learn at least 18 features, if not all the 20. So maximum features of the tool is what we are going to learn practically. And this course is 95% practical training program, 5% theory. Okay. So this would not be any PowerPoint presentation mode of training. It would be a practical training that I do on my laptop with the tool with different web applications, and you will see me writing the code and building the automation framework. The third learning objective will be how can I apply the tool to automate different web-based applications. So I would not take any single application throughout the training program. Maybe every 2 to 3 days you will see me taking a different application and exploring certain functionalities of that application and how do we automate it. Okay, it's like you have to stitch all classes into one real project in the future. So I will be taking different applications in the course so that we don't get bored and we get an understanding of how different applications can be customized and automated using the tool. Okay. So how do you use the different frameworks available within the tool? To be specific, we have something called a keyword-driven framework, script level framework, or a recording level framework. These are the three things that we are going to discuss as part of learning objective 4. And the fifth objective would be how would you generate different test reports, okay, or the essential test results, right? So every automation tool gives us the capability to generate a test report. So in Katalon Studio, you can generate a HTML test report, you can generate a PDF test report, you can generate an XML test report, you can also generate a .csv, comma separated values test report. So we'll look at even that reporting mechanism in this particular course. So I would say these are the 5 learning objectives that we have. Okay. And anytime you guys have a question, feel free to ask me then and there itself. Then we'll delve into the detailed course syllabus. Okay. I'll try to put things in little higher font size so that you can see it. Yeah. So wherever you see this hands-on exercise next to my chapter, it is a practical program, meaning it's a practical thing that we are doing it, not just a theory alone. So chapter 1 is the introduction towards the tool and the hands-on exercise. So what we do as part of chapter 1 is we would be getting to the official website, which is katalon.com. So this is the official website for Katalon Studio, and we'll have a quick walkthrough about the different features that this tool is providing and which organizations are currently using this and the reasons why companies are using this. So a little walkthrough about this will be discussed. Of course, you have here the different products that Katalon is providing. So if you go to solutions, you can see that this tool can be used for automating web applications, APIs, desktop applications, and mobile apps. And the tools available within Katalon is we have Katalon Studio tool, which we are going to discuss in this class. We have Katalon Desktops, which is a centralized dashboard management tool for test managers. I will also include this in my course. This is also part of our course. And then under reporting and analytics, we also have Katalon Desktops. We also discuss about this in our course. So that little walkthrough and getting started is what chapter 1 focuses. And obviously, when you're planning to automate any web-based applications, we'll understand that every object in a web application has certain properties. We call those properties as web locators or web techniques. I mean, we use web techniques to identify these web locators. If I have to make it a little simpler for us, right? For example, when we look at a human being, how do we classify that he is a human being and not any animal that you see? Or how do you classify a domestic animal and a wild animal? There are certain traits, certain characteristics that you use to identify that, yeah, this guy is a human being because he is vertically walking, right? But if you see an animal, it's like horizontally walking with 4 legs. So that's a way that we use as a human being to classify that this is an animal, this is a human being, or this is a domestic animal, this is a wild animal. Similarly, when you look at a web application, how would you identify the objects? So example, if I just go to some screen like a login screen, I'll take you, or a sign up screen. Yeah. So if you look at this simple login screen, as soon as a manual tester looks at this, they say that, hey, I have to enter the email address here. So you have to enter email address and you have to enter some password here, right? And then you have to click on login button. So we know that this is a text box, and we also know that this is also a text box, and this login is a button, right? The next one is a button that we have. So the way you are able to identify that these two are text boxes and this is a login button, next thing is you're also identifying that in the first text box you have to enter the email address and not the password. In the second box, you know that you have to enter the password but not the email address. Because we are manual testers or human beings, I would say, we have the capability to discuss and decide that the first field is a text box, it accepts email address. Second thing is a text box, it accepts a password. The third one is a login button and it does not accept anything except a click. How would I tell Katalon Studio the same thing, right? So to tell Katalon that these two are boxes and this is a button, you need a technique. That technique is what we call it as understanding web locators and the techniques. So web locator means you are telling the tool that, hey, this is a text box and this is a radio button, or this is a button, or this is a combo box, or this is a drop down box. We have to identify and we have to teach this to the Katalon Studio tool. The tool does not identify on its own. The tool at the end of the day is not as intelligent like us, right? We need to empower the tool with that knowledge. So how do you do that? To do that, there are 1,000 ways in the internet, not one or two ways. 1,000 ways are available. We don't have to learn all the 1,000 ways. We will learn three different ways. Now, what are those three different ways? So we'll learn it to tell using the browser itself. So I use the browser and teach the tool that, hey, this is a box, this is a button. Or I use any plugin or an add-on software. I use a additional software and the software will teach Katalon Studio how to do that. Or I use the tool itself because the tool also has the feature capability to identify the object on a website. So these three things we are going to learn. Like I said, there are 1,000 ways to identify. Even I'm not aware of all the 1,000 ways, but there are so many plugins available in the internet, whichever you feel like you can use. Once you learn the first three, the remaining are pretty much easy. They're all self-explanatory then. So one such plugin I will be talking about is a Chrome plugin called the Selectors Hub. This is nothing but this plugin I'm talking about. Okay. And the next option is finding the web locators using the browser dev tools, meaning using this option. This is what we are going to learn in chapter 1. Okay. I'll take a pause here. Do you guys have any questions until this point?
So you're just teaching the web testing, right? Kiran, not mobile testing, right?
Yes, Suchitra. In this course, yes, only the web automation.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, so just the web automation is what we are discussing in this course. Then chapter 2, what we do is as part of chapter 2 is like, now that we understand the basics in chapter 1, let us immediately switch to the tool, Katalon Studio tool, and discuss about what are the hardware requirements you need to have, what is the software requirements that you need to have. Hardware requirements, the regular laptop is more than sufficient. If you have an 8 GB RAM and at least a 20 gigabytes hard disk space, that's more than enough for meeting the hardware requirements. Coming to software requirements, right now you don't have to install anything. Directly we can go ahead and download the Katalon Studio tool. So I will teach how to download the tool. And the initially when Katalon is released, the tool came as a free version completely. But after 5 years, the tool gained a lot of traction. A lot of companies started evincing interest in this tool because it might replace Selenium in the future. That's the intention. So the Katalon Studio team started making a licensed version of its tool. So today, as I speak to you, we have a trial version available for 30 days, meaning a free version available for not for 30 days, I guess 14 days or 15 days, and then a licensed version, which is obviously commercial tool, you have to pay some X dollars per user per month or per annum. For the training, there is no cost involved because we have an officially trial version available from the Katalon Studio company itself. So we'll do that process. And after you download Katalon Studio, and of course we install it, during the process of download, I will ask you guys to sign up to the Katalon Studio website, because without a sign up, we cannot download the tool. And without a sign in, you cannot use the tool to automate your web applications. So the sign in process is mandatory for us. You might have to say, why should I sign in? There are certain reasons which I will show you in the upcoming classes. So there are a couple of reasons why we need to, sign in. I'll just show you one example.
So when you
So
say
if you,
sign, is it like a browser-based tool or?
no, this is not a browser-based tool. It is a Windows application that you download and you install on your computer. Katalon Studio is a desktop application tool, and then you launch it always from your operating system and you run it. Katalon Desktops is a browser-based tool. You don't have to install this. And I'm telling you have to sign up and sign in. So why should you sign in? Because you have to leverage the functionality of Katalon Desktops. So we will integrate Katalon Desktops and Katalon Studio in the course. To integrate, we need to be signed in. Okay? So that's the reason I said we have to sign in to this particular tool. And in chapter 2, we'll do a quick graphical user interface walkthrough of the tool itself, like what are the different features available, what are the menus available, so that when you look at the tool, the fear factor should go away. We should always feel that, hey, this tool is pretty easy, though it has multiple options. So that walkthrough of chapter 2 will give that little confidence on us. In chapter 3, we'll talk about the different automation modes available in Katalon Studio. So simply say the different automation modes available is you can manually use the tool and start writing the scripts, or you can use the built-in keywords in the tool. So there are a lot of keywords that are available in the tool that helps us to build the automation code. Okay, and you can also write the script directly in the tool. When it comes to script, Katalon Studio uses Groovy scripting. Now, Groovy is a flavor of Java. So if you are familiar with Java, understanding Groovy script is not difficult. Now, obviously, a question comes here. Now, should I know Java? Should I come with Groovy language knowledge? My honest answer would be, if you have taken the course of Java sometime in your college days or sometime in your office or sometime anywhere, at least to say that, yeah, I remember I have taken it, I understand the basic keywords, like what is system.out.println, what is integer. The basics, if you know, that's more than enough here, because the code is anyways generated by the automation tool only, which means the tool is welcoming all the automation testers, manual testers, say that you use the tool, you don't have to come with programming language experience, because the tool says that I will generate the code for you. But the tool says that you have to understand the code at least. And the code is again not Greek and Latin. It is pretty much in English format. And when you read the code, it looks like as if you are reading a novel. And once you become little familiar, I think you will have that enthusiasm to learn the tool more and more. And as you work with the tool, you will become little familiar with the coding also. But without coding, can I automate? If that is the question, the answer is yes. I would say yes. Without coding, you can automate 50% of your web-based applications, and I'll prove it in the course also. With coding also you can automate, without coding also you can automate. Why am I saying it is not my greatness, it is the tool greatness? Because the tool tagline is no code automation tool or low code automation tool. This is the tagline with which Katalon Studio is capturing the market. That's why people are moving from Selenium to Katalon Studio. Okay, a real expert in Selenium may not move, But let's say I talk about Srikant. Srikant says, Kiran, I don't like programming because I'm not good there. Then he could be one person who moves away from Selenium and starts using Katalon Studio, because that is how the tool is promoting, and that's why even I'm promoting now, right? Then let's move on to chapter 4. What do we have here? Like every automation tool has the facility of recording your actions on the browser and generating a automated script. Katalon Studio also has that feature. We use a Katalon recorder tool. Now this recorder is available as a plugin on Firefox browser, as a plugin on your Chrome browser, and that is little outdated now. But now the recorder is available within the Katalon Studio tool only. So the moment you install the tool on your Windows operating system or Mac operating system, this recorder becomes inbuilt available, and you can use the recorder to record all your actions. Which means if I go to any website and click on this login button, the tool records that Kiran clicked on login. And if I click on this continue with email, the tool records that, okay, you clicked on continue with email. And if I enter an email address here like tiger@lion.com and tiger as the password, and when I click on login, the tool records that this is the username Kiran entered in the username text box. This is the password Kiran entered in the password text box, and this is the login button he clicked. The tool records everything carefully by understanding the web locators. So that's how chapter 4 will be giving you a little understanding, and the tool will generate the script automatically. Later we will understand what script is generated, what are the keywords used, what is the script used, and I'll explain them in bits and pieces completely by using divide and rule concept. And how do you run that script, and how do you see that the browser automatically launches, automatically the username password gets entered and the login action takes place, and then you see a result. We'll also see how different logs can be generated, CSV test report, HTML test report, PDF test report can be generated. That's what we see in chapter 4. Chapter 5 is a topic where I will talk about a feature called Web Spy and Web Object Repository. What is this? If you remember, I told that in chapter 1 we will talk about web locator techniques, where in chapter 1 I spoke about the first two techniques where the browser is going to help you, or a third party plugin available for Chrome or Firefox browser will help you. In chapter 5 I'll talk about the feature that Katalon Studio itself has, and that feature name is Web Spy. So Web Spy is like a detective that will tell that this is a text box, this is a button, this is a radio button, this is a combo box, this is a hyperlink, and these are the properties or locators available to identify that it is a text box or it is a button. So that is what chapter 5 focus. And as to identify the locators, right? So when you identify locators, where do you store them? You can't store them in your mind, right? Because you will automate a project for 6 months. For 6 months you can't keep everything in your mind, you can't keep them in a notepad, so you have to store them somewhere. The answer is we call it as object repository. So Katalon Studio has this object repository where you store all the definitions of each element in your project, in your web application. That is what chapter 5 also focuses on. Chapter 6 talks about, now that the basics are clear, let's talk about automating one simple application. So we'll take some xyz.com application and we'll start automating it with simple test cases like how do you launch it, how do you log in, how do you log out, or how do you launch application, how do you click on page 1, page 2, page 3, how would you customize that. So those kind of simple examples is what chapter 6 will focus. And I told you that in Katalon Studio tool, you have 3 ways to automate. One is to record the application and playback. There is a chapter dedicated for this. Then you can use the keywords which are built in the tool to generate automation scripts or automation test design, I'll call it as. So chapter 7 focuses on this built-in keywords. Okay, something like when I tell the tool click, it will say, okay, I have to click on something. When I say right click, the tool will do a right click on some object. And when I say set to text, meaning it understands that, okay, you have to enter some text in a text box. And if I say mouse hover on, meaning you take the mouse and put the focus on a particular object. Like this, there are 100 keywords available. Okay, I'm taking a rough count, 100 keywords. Each keyword is important for us. I'm going to discuss, if not 100, at least 90 keywords, meaning 90% of the keywords we are discussing in this course. The remaining keywords is a kind of assignment for you because they're all similar to what I explained. Once to understand this 90% or 100% of keywords, I can say that you can automate 50% of most of the test cases that you have in your project. Okay, 50% is very less, but I'm giving a comfortable number. With this, I have automated nearly 70% of the project's test cases. Without coding, I was able to automate 50% of my projects without coding using the keywords alone. So here there are different keywords related. To handle a browser, you have browser specific keywords. To handle the pop-ups or the messages that you get Windows related, you have Windows keywords. To handle the checkboxes, select boxes, you have keywords. To handle the combo boxes or drop downs, you have combo box. You have keywords related to text box, keyboard, file upload, file download, how to take a screenshot, how do you scroll up and down on a website, button related keywords, and browser related keywords, like how do you change the size of a browser, how do you handle the alerts, how do you handle the iframes or frames. We have keywords related to mouse hover actions, we have keywords related to drag and drop the objects, we have keywords related to keystrokes, like I want to press control, I want to press alt key, I want to press a space bar. You have keywords for all those things. You have keywords for assertions also, meaning conditional statements. You have keywords for introducing delay, in the applications. Then you have keywords to handle multiple browsers. You have keywords to capture the style attributes or cascade style sheets, like what is the width of a object, what is the height, what is the left size, what is the right size, etc., etc. You have still more keywords than what I wrote in chapter 7. We'll discuss practically all these keywords with different examples in chapter 7. I'll take a pause here. Any questions until this point? Okay. So Srikanth, Suchitra, Mushraf, am I clear until this point?
Yeah, so far it's quite clear. So no question.
Thank you. Chapter 8 focuses on. Yeah, Suchitra, go ahead.
No questions.
Okay. So chapter 8 focuses on how would you, so whatever script you have generated, right? You need to eventually run it on a browser, right? So how would you run it on Chrome browser, Firefox browser, Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Safari? We'll see all these things. We call them as headful browsers because you are able to see the browser. So when I launch my browser, you are able to see the graphical user interface of the browser. So we call them as headful browsers. Similarly, you have headless browsers. So these are the browsers which you cannot see with your naked eye. They run in the backend, only operating system can see it. So headless browsers execute your automation scripts much quicker because they consume less random access memory, they consume less CPU percentage utilization. So when you have like 100 test cases to execute, every time a browser is launching and closing, it disturbs your current activities. It makes your computer run little slow. To make your computer fast and execute your test cases and still generate a test report, you have the option to run either on a headful browser or a headless browsers. So we are going to see all those actions in chapter 8 and how to generate test reports also. Chapter 9 focuses on reusability. Like I wrote a piece of code and I want to reuse it in some 10th test case. Should I write it again? Not necessary. You can make a function call to the first test case. 9th test case will go to first test case, call it, execute it, and the control comes back to 9th test case again. So how do we achieve reusability will be part of chapter 9. Then we have the concept of test suites in Katalon Studio. Manual testing, if you have heard of it, what we do is like we have a test steps, and multiple test steps together becomes a test case, and multiple test cases which are related to each other, it becomes a test suite. So what is a test suite? It is a combination of multiple test cases. So how would you combine multiple test cases that you have automated in Katalon Studio to make it as a test suite? Like, I call this as, a test suite is like a family, which has probably four people, like, the mother, the father, and kids, right? So a test suite is a combination of different test cases. And how would you combine multiple test cases, and how do you create a test suite, and how would you execute the test suite? How would you generate test reports of a test suite in CSV format, HTML format, XML format, or a JSON format, or a PDF format? I'm going to showcase all these things in this particular chapter in test suite. There are a lot of advantages you get when I teach test suite. You'll understand them practically. Then chapter 11 talks about a test suite collection. So when I say multiple test suites, when they are combined together, it becomes test suite collection. So think of test suite collection as a larger family where you have the in-laws, the parents, or I mean the parents, the grandparents are also there. So that's like an extended family, I would say. So when you combine multiple test steps, they become a test case. And when you combine multiple test cases, they become a test suite. And when you combine multiple test suites, they become test suite collection. And how would you achieve that in Katalon Studio? That's part of my chapter 11. And why should I do that is the question, right? The answer is, when you do test suite collection, you can do multiple browsers testing, both sequentially and parallelly. Meaning, I can execute the same test suite at the same time on Chrome browser, comma, Firefox browser, comma, Microsoft Edge, comma, Safari, comma, Opera, etc. Or I can tell Katalon Studio, first execute on Chrome. After execution is completed, now do it on Firefox. After execution completed, now do it on some other browser. So using test suite collection, you can achieve compatibility testing across multiple browsers. That is a powerful feature given by Katalon Studio. Chapter 11 will focus on that. Chapter 12 focuses on how do you see the logs. Every tool generates the logs, right? You have the logs. We have the console logs. And how do you generate test reports? That's what chapter 12 focuses. And chapter 13 focuses on, should I email every time a PDF report is generated? Naturally, yes, right? We are all human beings. You have to take the PDF report, HTML report, and you send it to your developer, to your manager, to your customer, which is good. But Katalon Studio understands that why can't you automate the process of sending email also? So Katalon Studio tells that you configure me in such a way that after a test suite is executed, I will automatically send the email to A, B, C, D people once the test execution has passed or once the test execution has failed. Which means I don't have to worry about sending an email. The tool says you outsource that work to me, I will do it for you. So which is like, it is a helpful feature for lazy people, right? Or for productive people, it is a helpful feature. So chapter 13 focuses on that. Chapter 14 is all about, what if I encountered some failures? My developer does not believe me. He needs evidences. The tool says, don't worry. I will help you how to take screenshots manually and automatically whenever there is a failure. And sometimes developer says, I need proof that it has passed. I don't believe in you, Kiran. Then I'll tell the developer, don't worry. My tool has a feature that takes a video of my test execution also. So you don't have to record any video. That you tell the tool and the tool will do it for you. Whether the test case has passed or failed, a video will be available for you, and you can always forward that video to your developer to show the evidence that yes, this indeed passed or this indeed failed. So that's another powerful feature. Again, the tool has got. We'll see obviously with examples. Chapter 15 focuses on another tool called Katalon Test Operations. It is more like an analytics tool where you will see some diagrammatical representations of how your test executions are faring from the last 1 week, from the last 1 month, from the last 3 weeks, how your execution is happening between Chrome browser versus Firefox browser, or how your execution is looking like between Mac operating system versus Windows operating system. Which test case passed more times but failed sometimes, and what is the reason? All those analytics will be automatically available in this tool called Katalon Desktops. But for it to automatically available, we have to integrate Katalon Desktops and Katalon Studio. How to integrate? That is something I will tell in chapter 1 only. So when I come to chapter 15, the data should be ready for us. So this Katalon Desktop is a browser-based tool. You don't have to install this, but you need to log in to see the data. Usually, Katalon Desktops is used by test managers, project managers, and the clients. So here we will be learning how you can impress your management with this desktops tool. Chapter 16 focuses on the browsers, the variables concept. Every automation tool uses the concept of variables, right? A variable is a placeholder which stores the value of an object. So in Katalon Studio, you can create different types of variables. You can create a local variable. You can create a global variable. You can create an environment-based variables, which means if I create a local variable, only that test case can access it. But if I create a global variable, all test cases can access it. If I create environment variables, I can point my automation code to development servers and execute the code. Later, I can point it to testing servers and execute the code. Later, I can point it to production servers and execute the code. So how to use variables chapter will make you understand that the same code can work on development environment, can work on QA environment, can work on any other environment. And chapter 17 is the detailed explanation of environment variables like dev environment, QA environment, those things. Chapter 18 focuses on how you can do another automation testing called as data driven automation testing. So sometimes, let's say, you have to test a login application. So when you have to test this login as a manual tester, you try this with different email addresses and different passwords to see whether the test case is passing or failing. So test case is enter username, enter password, click on login. But what username? Maybe you have 5 different usernames and you have 5 different passwords. So you have 5 sets of test data here, right? So one test case is being tested with 5 sets of test data. This is called as data driven automation testing. Testing the same thing with multiple values of test data. That's called as data driven testing. And how can we do that in Katalon Studio? So that is what chapter 18 focuses on. And you can supply the 5 usernames and 5 passwords from different ways. Like you can supply the test data in an Excel sheet or in a CSV comma separated values, or you can write the test data within the Katalon Studio tool itself so that portability can happen. So chapter 18 focuses on how you can do this. So don't think that until chapter 17 will not even talk about data driven. I will be talking about data driven when the right example comes in the initial classes itself. And each topic is not that we discuss and it is the end of it. We discuss the topic again and again in every example so that you have multiple recaps of every topic. So by the end of the course, you feel that you have practiced a lot because I do a lot of recaps with different examples. Chapter 19 focuses on Katalon plugins and Katalon Store. I compare this with your Android, Google Play Store or Apple App Store. So we visit those app stores to download additional softwares, like you download WhatsApp application, you download the Facebook, you download any food ordering applications, right? Similarly, Katalon Studio also has got lot of plugins available. So if I take you to their website, store.katalon.com. So this is the marketplace for Katalon Studio. And once you go to this Katalon Studio marketplace, okay. Looks like it's asking me to log in. So I'll take you to Katalon Store. Yeah, I'll try to show you some screenshots for now. Yeah, so this is one screenshot I'm showing you where lot of plugins are available that you can install. There are few plugins which are free. There are few plugins which are paid. They come with cost. We'll try to discuss most of the free plugins and how that will help in your project execution. Like I can integrate Katalon Studio with Microsoft Teams. I can integrate with let's say Slack. I can integrate with Jira. I mean the tool can be integrated with lot of tools, lot of plugins. So we'll look at all those features, how you can integrate in Katalon Studio chapter 19. Chapter 20 focuses on like how do you troubleshoot your failure cases. You have written the script but it's failing. So what techniques you have to keep in your mind to easily identify the failures, to easily identify the areas where you might have made a mistake, or where is the problem with the application. Though my code is correct, the script is still failing. Then how would I help you that the script is correct but the application is having a problem. So we'll look at the default debugging techniques in this particular chapters, how you can handle the entire failure handling. Chapter 21 tells you how you can develop your own keywords. Like if you remember, I said there are nearly 100 keywords are given inside the tool, already built in keywords. But I wrote a 20 lines of code and I want to convert that 20 lines of code into one single keyword. How do you convert that? So that explanation is also part of chapter 21. Now, why should I do that? Simple. Every time I don't want to write those 20 lines of code wherever I need it. Simply, I will convert the 20 lines into one single keyword. And if I tell Katalon Studio, use this keyword, it automatically calls those 21 lines of code. So building a custom keyword will help you reduce the lines of code, and it helps the next project member to easily reuse your code. And whether we should do it or not, we'll discuss in chapter 21. What is advantage if you build a custom keyword and what is the disadvantage if you don't use this feature. That's for chapter 21 to talk about. Chapter 22 talks about a framework called as TestNG framework. If you're coming from Selenium background, you might have heard of Annotations or TestNG framework. So chapter 22 will help you. How can you tell Katalon Studio that before executing this test case, maybe I have a prerequisite to execute, right? For example, the prerequisite is open the browser and delete all the cookies. That is a prerequisite that I have to do for all the test cases in my project. How do you achieve these prerequisites? And let's say after the test case is executed, I want some post actions to be taken, like close the browser, delete all the cookies, delete the data in the database. So after the test case is executed, certain post actions are there. So before executing a test case and after executing a test case, I want Katalon Studio to do some ABCD things. How would you tell the tool? That is what chapter 22, we call it as annotations. Similarly, before executing a test suite and after executing a test suite, what should I do? That is what chapter 22 will talk about. Chapter 23, the last chapter, will focus on some additional miscellaneous examples, which are like the general questions that I have seen from different organizations, different students who enroll in my course. So I have written all those questions here and I just called it as miscellaneous. Like if someone said, hey, how would I do a file upload, file download testing? So that I have written here. And the overall settings of the tool, where you can change the preferences, how you can integrate your Katalon Studio with the GitHub tool, how you can integrate with Microsoft Teams, or if you say I want to integrate with Jenkins, so how can you do that? They're all part of my chapter 23, which is the last chapter. Okay, and I have written here that this course is going to be 100% practical training program, 95% practical training program, and the prerequisites is if you are coming from manual testing background, that's more than enough. And if you have some basic knowledge on Java, basic knowledge, okay, that would be an added advantage for you. And this is the hardware requirement and the softwares that we'll be downloading in this course. So I'll anyways help you with this process overall during the course time. So with this, I conclude my demonstration class for today, where the intention is to help you understand what I teach and what you will learn. And now I ask you guys to let me know if you have any questions, anything that you want me to talk about, we can.
So in this our course journey, are you going to build complete end-to-end framework for this?
Of course, yes. But the catch point here is we don't use one single project.
Mhm.
I use different examples.
Okay.
The reason is, you know, it becomes more like a classroom training where I do one single project, just like a teacher's teaching a student in a college, in a school. So I usually make it multiple examples so that you see a flavor. Okay, in this project it looks like this. In another example, it looks like this. So we are going to build a framework for sure. We are going to build a framework in the overall course. So
And you
Chitra, if you
also
have any question,
will be
yeah.
helping the line system thing, right? So this is a pay tool, right? So how 14 days is not enough, right? Are we gonna have?
The free version is sufficient for us. In fact, I used the free version for a couple of projects
Mhm.
because it's a very expensive tool. For the training, we don't need license. The free version is sufficient. It has all the features. It's not that only 5 features are there and 90 features are hidden. All the features are available except one or two features which recently they have removed it. But there is a
Okay.
way to even talk about them. So we use the free version in this tool. I use the free version. You will also use the free version.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions, Suchitra, Srikanth, if you have?
Only my question is like you'll be like you have a separate class for mobile testing also, Kiran, or so if
Uh,
we know that the web is enough more than.
okay, I'll tell you. See, the tool can do all 4 types of testing, but the tool is
Mm-hmm.
still evolving. The tool is not still 100% evolved on the mobile automation side.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I mean, it can still do it, but not completely evolved like Appium tool in the market. Anyways, in this
Okay.
class, in this course, I do not teach the mobile automation. The course is purely focused on web automation.
Okay. Mm, got it.
So the concepts like whatever which we are going to discuss for web automation, it similarly relates to the mobile or it varies.
80% the concepts are the same, whether it is API automation or desktop automation or mobile automation. Whatever I'm teaching in web, 80% of the knowledge you can carry it forward as it is. The keywords only will be different.
Keywords only. Okay, got it.
Keywords
Thank
only will be different, but how to use it, you will automatically understand from my web automation only.
you. Okay.
It's like this, right? I'll take a very simple example. In the earlier days, if I have to chat with you, I used Yahoo Messenger or I used Google Chat. Later, WhatsApp came and destroyed all these things. Now, do we need training on how to use WhatsApp? Not necessary, because we are already habituated to Google Talk or Yahoo Messenger, which means it is easy for me to use WhatsApp chat also now. Similarly, if your company is using another software, let's say that Snapchat or some other softwares, it's easy for us to use even that software, right? Because this experience help you use that software. Same is a scenario. I would say that web automation, if you understand, you uplift this knowledge and reuse it in other automations like mobile automation or API or desktop automation.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
I have a last question. So, what about the API? I saw somewhere in your course outline. Are we covering as well? Just to confirm. Web.
API automation, I'm not sure, but let me see. Give me 1 second. If I have mentioned it, definitely I should be.
Okay. Perfect.
But if you are looking at some basics of that one, definitely yes, I will definitely talk about that.
Okay. Thanks.
I'm just cross-checking the overall course curriculum. Give me just 1 second. Yeah, we don't have APIs in this course, but if you are looking at it, not a problem. We can take one or two additional classes, and I can touch base on API automation. because anyways, I'm comfortable with API automation using Katalon Studio.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, so whatever meeting link that you have received, that remains same at least for the next 2 to 3 classes. And every time the meeting link changes, right, I will ensure that you will get a WhatsApp message. So please make a note of that link because the link is valid only for a few days. Like this is a trial link I'm using. The link will change every time it changes. I message you on WhatsApp, so you have to bear with me on that particular process. And every class gets recorded, and you will be given access to the recorded class. And you will also get the code that I'm writing via Google Drive. You'll also get the notes that I have prepared, and I'll share it with you via Google Drive. So the only expectation is like you have to listen to me for 1 hour, and after 1 hour, whenever you get time, you have to practice it. And in the next class, the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes is reserved for the questions related to the previous classes. And then the remaining 50 minutes, I'll use it for the current discussion that I have to do. Okay. So the timings are the same. The timings won't change. Like the way I had today, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. my time, India time. Could be a different time in your time zone, but this is the same time for which we are going to do this training program. Okay. And if you have any queries, please WhatsApp me. I'll be able to assist you with the related answers over the WhatsApp. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Musharraf, Srikanth, and Suchitra for joining this demonstration class. I'll see you guys again in the next class. And I'll be in touch with WhatsApp to let you know about any updates. Like, for example, let's say if you're not available for a class, you can WhatsApp me. If I'm not available, I'll try to WhatsApp you. We can be having that comfort factor in the WhatsApp as well.
So
Sure.
tomorrow we have class, okay?
Mostly yes, but I'll cross check because I was expecting 5 more students to join the class, but they messaged me that because of certain stand-up calls in their organization, they could not join. So I'll
Okay.
update you again on the WhatsApp regarding that.
Okay.
Okay. If you don't see a message from me, definitely we have a class. But if there is a change, like I might have to skip the class for day 2 or day 1, you will definitely get a WhatsApp message.
Yeah, most likely I will not be able to join tomorrow if you have the class.
Okay, okay, no problem.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
again,
please
sure, I'll let you guys
record.
know. But one thing for everyone is like, even if you miss the class is getting recorded, so you can listen to it before you join the next class. And if I see 90% of the people not joining a class on a certain day because of a festival or because of unexceptional situations, probably I use that class to clarify some questions for the participants who just joined, so that others don't miss the valuable classes. And you can listen to the recorded class to see what questions they have asked and what answers I have given to them. Because this whatever batches I do, guys, it is only to share my knowledge. It is not that okay, 30 days of training I have to teach non-stop. No, that's not the objective. The objective is share my knowledge with you, even if it takes 5 more classes or 6 more classes addition. Okay, I think we can sign off for today. Thank you very much for joining this demonstration class. I'll see you again in the next class. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.